Now a look at what stories have been making the headlines today with all the latest ITV News.
The cyclist Jason Kenny becomes Britain's most decorated Olympian with a spectacular victory in Tokyo. He's now won 7 gold medals and 2 silvers at 4 Olympic Games.
I kind of felt like I had nothing to lose and just put my head down and went for it, really. It was such a long way. I felt like the last lap took me about half an hour. But yeah, I got there in the end. Couldn't believe I crossed the line on my own still.
Kenny's triumph came just hours before the closing ceremony at the end of a Games which have been another huge success for Team GB. They won as many medals as they did in London in 2012. Also on the programme, hundreds more people are forced to flee their homes as the wildfires in Greece turn the skies red. And Lionel Messi confirms he's leaving Barcelona with a tearful goodbye.
This is ITV News with Geraint, Vincent.
Good evening. Staged in the midst of a global pandemic, it was an Olympiad like no other, but the Games still managed to deliver unforgettable moments and for Team GB, more remarkable success. Britain's most successful female athlete, Laura Kenny, carried the Union flag at a dazzling closing ceremony after her husband Jason became the most decorated British athlete in Olympic history, sprinting to gold in the cycling. And in the boxing ring, the Welsh fighter Lauren Price became the new middleweight Olympic champion. Our sports editor Steve Scott takes us through the highs of the final day and Team GB's stunning finish.
A fond farewell from Tokyo to the watching world, a traditional light show, followed by a very modern one, sprinkling some stardust on the athletes below in the stadium. Athletes who between them have lit up these games, confounded COVID and given everyone a lift. Laura Kenny carrying the flag for Team GB on a last day when her husband rode his way into British Olympic history.
Jason Kenny takes the title!
He left it late, but after victory in the Keirin, Jason Kenny has captured his 7th Olympic gold, the only British athlete to reach that milestone. By his own exceptional standards, it's been a disappointing week for Kenny, but today more than made up for that.
I kind of felt like I had nothing to lose and just put my head down and went for it, really. It was such a long way. I felt like the last lap took me about half an hour. But yeah, I got there in the end and couldn't believe I crossed the line on my own still.
There will be mixed emotions in the Kenny household as a battered and bruised Laura finished outside the medals in the women's Omnium, thanks in no small part to a huge crash in the early part of the race. That blow tempered, of course, by a record-breaking gold earlier in the week and the thought of a young son at home in the UK, just desperate to see his mum and dad again. Team GB's final medal of these games came in the ring, and what a way to finish. An explosive gold for middleweight Lauren Price. She has lightning in her gloves and quick silver feet across the canvas and was too hot for her Chinese opponent.
Winning the World Championships, European Games and Commonwealths, I had one more to get, and yeah, I'm just over the moon that I went out and performed today and got the win. It's been a dream of mine since I was 8 years of age, so to tick that off the box and be on top of that podium today is a dream come true.
They might not have quite matched Rio's medal tally, but their boss believes this is the best ever British Olympic team because of the challenges it faced and the success in so many sports.
24 disciplines that we've medalled in, more than any other nation, and I often talk about how this is the most sophisticated high performance system in the world, bar none. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. 24 disciplines delivering medals, 18 sports delivering medals. There is genuinely something for everybody.
Back in the stadium, it was time for Tokyo to hand the baton to Paris. And for Paris to show the type of welcome that awaits in 2024. Tokyo's time had come and gone, a final flicker, and it was done. The city staged a Games to remember, a Games against the odds, under games the like of which we will never see again. Steve Scott, ITV News, Tokyo.
Well, let's take a look now at how it all finished on the medals table. The United States at the top with 39 golds altogether. China were closely behind with 38, and then the hosts, Japan, were third. Team GB finished in fourth place, collecting 22 golds and 65 medals overall, matching their tally in London 9 years ago. The Russian Olympic Committee team was fifth. Well, Jason Kenny's extraordinary achievement has, of course, been years in the making. He won his first gold in Beijing in 2008, and he's been breaking records ever since. Sam Holder looks back.
He's the man who's made history. More golds, more medals than any other British Olympian ever. This was Jason Kenny's first at Beijing in 2008.
Kenny's got the head of the race. Kenny is the only...
Then came London 2012. He may specialise in sprints, but the route to Olympic legend has been a marathon in the making. Decades of determination and focus, inspired by his dad's love of cycling and a school trip to the velodrome.
He came from a very humble background, and all he did was take opportunities that came his way.
Joe Quinn was Jason's PE teacher growing up in Bolton.
I did watch last night and I felt immensely proud. I think it was brilliant. It was a fantastic achievement. I mean, there's not enough superlatives to state, you know, what Jason achieved and the adulation that he should get from his achievements.
This was his fourth gold at Rio in 2016. After getting 2 more in Brazil and 1 in Tokyo, he's overtaken Chris Hoy as the record British gold medal holder.
What you see is what you get with Jason. I think how you see him in interviews is exactly how he is to us. He's just a simple, humble kind of guy, and that's one of his major qualities. I don't think this medal changed him. I don't think the 6 or 7, however many it is before, has changed him. And that's something I love about Jason. There's no TV persona. That's exactly what you get.
Jason's own love and teammate, wife Laura, is now the most decorated British female Olympian. Between them, more medals and golds than many countries can dream of. And a non-sporting one too, both getting CBEs on the same day. And there are now calls for him to be knighted. Jason Kenny's track to glory has been paved by humility and hard work. The question now, will he try for more in Paris? Sam Holder, ITV News.
Well, let's return to Steve in Tokyo now. Steve, history's been made again, but if it's not too early to ask about legacy, what do you think the legacy of this Games will be?
Well, Geraint, I think I'd go back to what the chef de mission said about Team GB's excellence across a range of sport. Yes, the number of gold medals are down, but I think the real legacy will be with the breakout events like BMX and skateboarding. These are events that appeal to a younger generation, and crucially, they are sports that are very accessible. Outside that, I think this is a Games where athletes have found their voice to talk about things outside sport, most notably, of course, Simone Biles, who had the courage to talk about her challenges with mental health. And then I think there's the Japanese who've staged what has been a flawless Games in the most challenging of circumstances. And we have to remember these are their home Games, and they haven't really experienced most of the benefits that come with that. You only have to hope that when the Paralympics start in a few weeks' time, that fans might be allowed back in the stadium, so the Japanese public can actually see firsthand what's going on under their noses, which is something they haven't been able to do over the past couple of weeks.
Steve Scott in Japan, many thanks. Moving on to the day's other main story now, and British firefighters are arriving in Greece this evening to help fight catastrophic wildfires. On the island of Evia, as homes are destroyed by the flames, hundreds more people have been rescued by boat as the skies above them turn red. Mark Mallett reports.
The skies above Evia burn orange, just like the ground beneath them. Massive wildfires have been steadily engulfing the island's forested mountains and towns and villages for a number of days now. And they're the most severe of all the wildfires that broke out in Greece in the wake of the country's most protracted and intense heatwave in 3 decades. Cutting right across the island with flames burning from coast to coast. Scores of homes and businesses have already been destroyed. These residents had to be evacuated by ferry because their possible escape routes had already fallen and been claimed by the devastating flames. And in an almost apocalyptic twilight, firefighters from right across Europe have been arriving to join the battle against the raging wildfires. From the ground and from the skies too. In some areas it's already too late. Anything that could be destroyed has been. Firefighters from the UK are heading out to join in the rescue efforts.
The images are devastating. And what we'd like to say is that, you know, our sympathies and our thoughts are with the Greek people. It's dramatic. It's not on a scale that we have in the UK. We're going because we've got the expertise, and we're going because UK firefighters deploy regularly overseas to assist other nations in their efforts to rescue and to help the members of their communities.
The scale of the impact of the wildfires is becoming clear, with many homes and forests turned to ash. This is an area north of the Greek capital of Athens, ravaged by the flames for several days. This business owner said his business survived the flames. Others were less fortunate.
Πώς ερχόταν και η αστυνομία μας έδιωξε, παιδιά, ήταν ένα πράγμα φοβερό. Δηλαδή εδώ έπρεπε μόνο με φως να κυκλοφορήσεις. Είχε σκοτεινιάσει, είχαν σκοτεινιάσει τα πάντα.
The cause of the fires is under investigation, but already Greek and European officials have blamed climate change. The immediate task will be to deal with the trail of destruction being left behind, which one official has described as a biblical catastrophe. Mark Mallet, ITV News.
Here, the Environment Secretary has defended the decision to put down an alpaca which has tested positive twice for bovine tuberculosis. Writing in the Mail on Sunday, George Eustace said he has examined Geronimo's case several times. Culling animals which test positive for the disease, he said, was an arduous but necessary endeavour to stop the spread to other animals. After weeks of speculation, the football superstar Lionel Messi has confirmed his departure from Barcelona. He was in tears as he said goodbye and received a standing ovation at a news conference earlier as his wife and children watched. And he also said a move to Paris Saint-Germain could be on the cards. Stuart Silvers has the story.
In the end, it was no surprise. But when the moment finally came, Lionel Messi couldn't hold back the tears. One of the world's greatest ever sportsmen, struggling to compose himself as he said farewell to Barcelona, the club he joined as a 13-year-old more than 2 decades ago. Supported here by his wife and young family.
Es muy difícil esto para mí, después de tantos años, de hacer toda mi vida acá. No estaba preparado, la verdad que en el campo poder escuchar una última ovación de ellos.
And there was plenty to cheer. 10 league titles, 4 Champions Leagues, among 34 trophies, an incredible 672 goals. Messi, 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 Messi. 6 times World Player of the Year, the list goes on. But as so often with modern football, what derailed it all was money. The Spanish league salary cap meant Messi was simply too expensive to keep.
De mi parte también hice todo lo posible para quedarme, porque quería quedarme.
A standing ovation to finish from the assembled press and officials. Messi is now ready for talks with the French champions Paris Saint-Germain, the end of what could be the greatest club career of all time. Stuart Silvers, ITV News.
And finally this evening, a couple who set themselves an Olympic challenge to take part in all 102 individual events during the Tokyo Games have finished their feat. Charlotte Nichols and Stuart Bates ended their mammoth effort with a marathon on the final day. They took on the challenge in memory of Stuart's brother, Spencer, who died from motor neurone disease. They set out to raise £10,000, but have raised more than 11 times that amount. They've completed everything from skateboarding to climbing, boxing, weightlifting, shooting, show jumping and rhythmic gymnastics. And well done to them. That's it. I'm back with the late news at 10. Until then, good evening.